Out in the sticks today, doing some brush cutting. So I am out at one of my apiaries today. I finished honey extraction. That was finished last, finally Tuesday. It went on because I had a slight issue then. I had to get a load of honey ready for a client, which was like, okay, no problem, I'm grateful. Just do the break, but it's done. The heating is off. I now am cleaning up, starting the big cleanup, cleaning out the extractor, cleaning out the sump, melting down more wax. It's all going really well, but I just had to come out today because I hadn't been to this apiary to clear it for a while, and I wanted to get it all done. And I thought it was a really good opportunity just to talk about the issues we face in apiaries. I'll give you just a pan round here. So this apiary was given to me because I had another one the other side, and if you can just see to the left of my truck door there's a field there, and it was in there, but it was always in the lee side of the shade. So this time I've got an apiary the other side of in this beautiful private estate. It's absolutely gorgeous, but you see the trees have grown up, and the problem is even when we stand here, there's not a lot of light coming through. So what I'm going to do is I've already cleared the brambles. You can see where I've cleared from. All that brown on the ground was actually brush. But I used to keep that clear years ago, and I let it go a bit. But this time I pushed it back again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back with my brush cutter again and cut this part back as well later on this winter. But this will lose some of its leaves, and already the sun does come up there and comes up to about sort of that height and comes in to the apiary. So the bees do get a little bit of winter sun, not as much as I like, but they're getting sun now, but it's better than nothing. Ancient hornets still flying around, but they're virtually finished. You see this is wild boar damage, absolute pain in the ass. Last year or a couple of years ago they were really bad, but this year they're only just starting now. I don't know why, but only just starting now, so it's not too bad. You know, it is what it is kind of thing. So all that there, if I can get that back another 20-30 feet right to there, and then also behind that, because the trees are well dense, they don't allow the brambles to grow. So what it is eventually I'll get back to where this carries on. This is beech coppice mostly, and over there's no bramble. So I'm just going to clear this back to what it was, and it'll allow, you see over there's no brambles, but all I need to do is clear that bit and it'll open it all up. And we're going to take off some of these limbs, because this is goat willow, and as much as it's great, it falls down and then the brambles grow up into it. So you can see what's happened over here. So I'm going to thin that one out, and lift up some of these branches here, cut out this bit, and that will allow more winter light. I'm quite kind of a stickler for choosing an apiary where there's plenty of sunshine, because I've learned in the past that if you don't, you will suffer later on. So work to do in here is to get some of these hives level as well, replace some pallets. I've replaced quite a few already, but come back with some offcuts. That needs re-leveling, for example. All the little jobs that you keep saying you're going to do, is now the time to do them, because you have a little bit more time. You can't ever stop in beekeeping. You have to just keep going. But this was the one I wanted to do, mostly because all the others are virtually accessible nearby when I park, and I can go in with the brush cutter. But this one, it's a long way to walk, because I've got my truck in there, but I wouldn't want to come too much further up here because it gets really soft here. And even though we've had no rain for a month, I only just got in the entranceway, but it's clearer now. And also the problem is, you see, there's a lot of trees here that fall, their leaves fall along the way, and that creates really soft ground. It hasn't really been maintained for years, so the pathway gets covered in leaves, and year after year it builds up, so the track gets soggier and soggier. So you've got to know your apiaries. You've got to just come down and do the best you can when you can. Seize that opportunity. Okay, so one little thing I did here that I will show you that I've been laughed at a couple of times, but I don't have a problem because I did it. If you look on these two trees, I've got a bit of orange tape there and a bit of orange tape on the one behind. Now, when I'm driving in, I know that when I reverse, those two trees line up and I can see around the tree to drive in. And that actually is done like that because I hit the other tree once, and that's what the dent is on the back of my truck there. And from then on, that was a few years ago, from then on, I learned that you need to basically signpost the way. So this machine is absolutely brilliant. You've seen it before. It just absolutely motors through brambles. And in the places where we've cut fairly recently, within the last year and a half, 2 years, it did actually cut them down pretty well. So what I'm going to do now is just come back with the chainsaw and the hedge cutter and just slice back this bramble a bit, clear that out, and it will open up. It also is a matter of what we call wind. I like apiaries to have air blowing through them in certain respects, and here, because it's very wet most of the time, it almost gets a bit like stagnant. So I'm lifted up this brush over there, not just to allow this sunlight when it's low to come in over that way, but also to get the air through more and to allow that a bit of sun. So it's a win-win situation. So the more air, you can see how calm it's been. We've literally got, I've brushed most of the roofs off, but all these hives, we've had no wind for ages. And all the roofs are just sitting here with leaves on. It's just incredible. There's been no wind for literally a month, which I think is a good thing for the bees. But it's good to have a little bit more if it's already wet, because it keeps it dry. It's the perfect moment now to get the apiaries cleared. I'm going to try and do some more this week in other apiaries, because as I said, I can get to most of them while even if it does rain, and it's not forecast to rain loads, just be much colder, which it is today anyway, but it's still dry. It'll just be wet next week. So and after that, my point of mentioning all this was we're going to go on to oxalic acid treatment, because the two colonies I saw at home, and it's exactly what I expected, are looking almost broodless. So we're getting to that point now, the optimum point for treating with oxalic acid, and I will try and do 3 trips. So we're still trying to get the electricians on site. They came for another 1 day yesterday in total, did a load more stuff, but the electricity won't be on anytime soon. And I've just heard that they've now started another big job at another village nearby that they're 6 weeks late on as well, because they couldn't get in there. So I'm like, this is going to go on to at least Christmas, I think, so I get my electricity connected in the honey house. But I've been thinking, you know, and I've been kind of lucky so far, and it's not going to make much difference. It's just would be nice to get it done and finished. But all the time I am moving in, I'm looking at ways of getting the shelving bolted to the wall, for example, because that's got to take some weight. Not a lot, but I've got to find the right bolts for that, and I think I've found them. They're what we call anchor bolts or tab bolts. But basically, when you push them through the hole, there's a little locket that opens up at the end, and that means you can then bolt something right through the whole insulated section. But the problem is, not many people do this kind of bolting, and it's finding the right thing for the right job. And when you don't, it's not done often, you've got to really scour the internet to find it. Anyway, I've got to get home, unload all this, clip off. I was going to collect supers tonight, but I don't know if I'll have time by the time I get home. But anyway, everything has gone really well today. Machine went absolutely fantastically, and no screw ups on the way, thank goodness. And now this apiary is done and fairly tidy for the winter.